President-elect Donald Trump's transition team says he is narrowing the list of candidates for Secretary of State down to 4. Will General David Petraeus make the cut? Mr. Trump tweeting he was, quote, very impressed after meeting with the general on Monday. We've got our own general. We're also very impressed with him. Keane is a retired 4-star general, chairman of the Institute for the Study of War, and a Fox News contributor. Good to see you today, sir.
Good to see you, Shannon.
And I know that you've talked with Mr. Trump through this process, and you feel he's very focused, he's asking the right questions. Are you confident in the picks that he's made and will make?
Yeah, he's so personally engaged in the process, and that's a healthy thing to see, that particularly for these top positions. And I can only speak for the time that I spent with him. But my general impression was, as you suggested, I mean, he's an excellent listener. He wants to learn what he doesn't know about foreign policy and national security. He understands that this is not an area that he has expertise in, but the truth is, the last predecessors of his did not have it either. This is pretty typical for someone who becomes president-elect, that foreign policy and national security is sort of a debit for them. They don't have that kind of experience. And he wants to get it. And given the process he's going through, despite some of the theatrics that surround it, I think he's going to pick somebody who, one, he believes is qualified, and two, that he wants to work with on a regular basis, almost a daily basis for Secretary of State.
Yeah, and, you know, names that we've seen surface, of course, Mitt Romney. They had another meeting yesterday, a dinner last night. They got a lot of attention. We know he's met with General Petraeus. We don't know if it's for this position, for something else. He's apparently on the short list for this. Senator Bob Corker, Rudy Giuliani. I mean, there are many in the mix. I mean, what do you think about the potential qualities that you will need to take on this job?
Well, let me state outright that, in full disclosure, I'm not particularly objective about Dave Petraeus, because I've known him for 25 years, and I helped save his life when he got shot. So we're sort of bonded.
It's quite a story, by the way.
But we're sort of bonded, to say the least. But listen, what he brings to the table is pretty extraordinary. Serving any president, having commanded 2 theaters of war. The only other person to do that is Douglas MacArthur. A major intelligence agency like the CIA. In all 3 of those positions, he had to meet with foreign ministers, defense ministers, and actually a fair number of heads of state, very conversant on all the issues that are facing our country today, knows full well that the United States is facing greater risk today than we were facing, frankly, 8 years ago. And certainly Mr. Trump understands that clearly. But at the end of the day, he's going to pick somebody who he has confidence in and wants to see every single day.
Well, whomever he picks is going to have to deal immediately with this issue of Syria, with Aleppo that we're seeing just being decimated, newly targeted, the fight there for the Syrian government versus the rebels to take control. What do we do about Syria? What does the person who becomes Secretary of State do?
Well, first of all, the situation in Syria is going to get worse. The Russians have made up their mind. They haven't announced it, but they have made up their mind. They will obliterate Aleppo to achieve their military objective. That is why they brought the carrier in, to give them more capability than what they have at their air base, and to compensate for the lack of ability that the Syrian air power has. They have penetrated bombs that have been penetrating into underground hospitals. They're targeting largely civilians, Shannon. This is genocide. This is absolute war crimes that they're committing under the guise of a civil war. And that's the reality of it. This is a page out of Chechnya a number of years ago, when they absolutely pounded the town of the city of Grozny and destroyed it. And that's what they're willing to do here to achieve their ends. They've been there over a year. There's pressure on them at home. Why haven't we seen the results? So this is the results he's finally going to get them. This is a major problem for the United States. It's almost an intractable problem, but it's created by humans, so it must be able to be resolved by humans, is my thought process. It'll be a front burner for Mr. Trump. One, what to do with ISIS in Syria. We don't have a good plan. Hopefully he'll ask for a better plan than what we have, and they'll get after destroying that. 2, how to deal with this civil war. I think the United States has got to get more involved than it is now if we're going to get an answer.
Well, it's a tall order and a lot to dive into, so we are hopeful to hear that the President-elect is asking the right questions and surrounding himself with the right people. General, thank you. Always good to see you.
Good seeing you, Shannon.